Hello, everyone. It looks like we are live. I actually got it to work this morning. Every month when we do our craft along, I always wonder whether it's actually going to go live. And it worked. So it's always wonderful when things actually work the way we want it to work. So when you get the notification that I've gone live, please jump on, say hello, and let me know where you're watching from. So, of course, we have our basic foundations of card making, Rose Ward and myself. So Rose is in New York and I'm in Australia. And we do a basic foundations of card making group every month. We teach exactly what it's called, basic foundations of card making. So we're helping our members learn tips and tricks to help them with their card making and making card making a pleasurable, easy experience when you know the basis of how to actually create a card from the beginning to the end. And we have been doing embossing this month, which has been really, really awesome. We did embossing last month, but we also have been doing embossing techniques this month, and it's been super, super fun. I've got a really awesome, fun technique to do this morning. Now, I just have to put a big shout out. Rose is not able to make the meeting this morning because unfortunately her mother-in-law, her dear mother-in-law, who's 100 years of age, has fallen ill and is in hospital. So family must come first. So she wants to send her apologies and she would be here if she could, but she's not able to do that. So for any of the basic foundations of card making members, you are able to join the Zoom. So I will try and see that as I'm going live, but because I'm the one person that's doing it, but you can join the Zoom call if you wish as we go along, or otherwise you can just watch it streaming here on YouTube. So let me know if you are watching on Rose's YouTube channel. So make it sure that it's actually going out to Rose's YouTube channel as well. I'm hoping that everything's working really well. So my name's Donna Gray. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from the Scenic Room in Queensland. And as I said, Rose Ward, who is Stampers Delight from New York, we work together. We've been working together for many, many years, and we love helping people with their card making and help sharing all of the things that we have learned as we've gone along. So I can see I've got Christine, I've got Janice, I've got Princess, I'm not sure who Princess is, Nancy, Linda, Maureen, welcome, welcome. So yes, big hugs and prayers to Rose. It's been a challenging time for her. So and of course, I mean, I was missing in action last month because I hurt my back really bad and I was bed bound with ice packs on my back trying to be able to get ready for my retreat that weekend. So but anyway, sometimes things pop up in our life and we just have to deal with it. Yeah, she's and Rose's mother-in-law is just I mean, like 100 years of age. What? Oh, it's Deb. Okay. What a wonderful achievement to be 100 years of age. I can't imagine it. So, I can tell you, I'm feeling 100 years of age this morning. I joined the gym and I've been going and doing some gym classes with my daughter. Oh, and I can tell you, I did two classes, one on Tuesday night and one last night. And I actually said this morning, because we've been going for a morning walk at 5 a.m. every morning, and I said this morning, I am not going for a walk this morning. My legs are like way, way too sore. So I'm feeling like 100 years of age at the moment. So, um, yeah, it's actually because of the way, so Deb, because of the way you've joined YouTube, it would just have your YouTube, the name of your channel, like, and obviously it's just your yeah, what it is. Um, oh, the storms have been horrific. I can tell you, I was supposed to go live last Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? No, Monday. And we got a doozy of a storm. I have not seen hailstones as big, and it hailed for at least 20 to 25 minutes non-stop. Big hailstones, and yeah, it was pretty horrific. And of course we lost power, so then I couldn't do a video, and everyone's sitting on my YouTube channel waiting for me to go live, and they're like, where is she? What's wrong? Is everything okay? And I'm like, I have no power. I can't do a live video. So anyway, unfortunately, that's the season. Christmas time. I love Christmas time, but I hate the storms. But anyway, all right. So I'm actually going to show you a technique this morning, and there's quite a few steps to this technique, and I just want to say that you really, really need to take your time and really do it as many times as I say. I'm not going to do it as many times here on the video. I'm going to show you because I actually have one prepared because there's a reason for that. I couldn't do it all in the one video because it wouldn't work because there's a cooling process. Has that got you inquisitive? Does anyone think they know what I'm going to do with embossing? So last month we taught people how to get a good crisp embossed image, like how to use your embossing buddy, how to make sure that you've got everything right before you hit it with the heat. And this month we've actually been doing lots and lots of different techniques, and I can tell you I've done one so far. There is another video that's coming for my basic foundations of card making, and I've got it all sorted. I just had to get it recorded, but due to the storms and losing power, I've lost time with doing all of that. So I will try and get that up this afternoon as well for the November group. But now if you're in our basic foundations of card making and you haven't found the Facebook group, we create a new Facebook group every month. So every month there is a new Facebook group. It is always called Basic Foundations of Card Making, and then we put the month and the year. Okay, so we're doing 12 months of the Basic Foundations of Card Making Facebook groups. And when we get back around to the first month that we started it again, we will be cleaning out the members out of that group. So you'll get access. If you join for 1 month, you're going to get access for that month for a whole 12 months. But once we come around to that month again in the following year, we will be only putting the active members back into that group. So we've been teaching people how to cut their card bases, how to work from a template guide, which the template guide is really, really important because that way you get the same card base, the same card layer measurements every single time, and it is foolproof. It is physically foolproof, but it also teaches you that you can look at someone else's card and you can break their card down into the steps. What is their card base made out? You know what your card base size is, you cut your card base size. What is their first layer? We have our contrast layer, that we call it the black layer. We have our contrast layer. So if they've got a contrast layer, you cut it to your black size. If they've got another layer, you cut it to the next template size. Now, anyone that joins our Basic Foundations of Card Making group, they get access to that template. You can make a set of your own, or you can actually purchase the cardstock off us to be able to make the templates if you don't have all of the colors. So there is one color in there that we've used. It's now retired, so we're going to probably have to replace that in our template set. But it is fantastic to have the template set, and I have mine here in my little packet. So they have all of the measurements. You've got, they're all different colors. So we say, okay, we're going to use the Blackberry Bliss layer. We're going to use the black layer. And that's actually how you'll be able to work out your layering, which is really, really good. So on the back of them, you have your measurements. So because you've got the measurements on the back, as soon as you grab your layers, and you can even use them as a rough guide when you're trying to work out with the designing process, you can work out which size layers you want. If you want a bigger border, you can work out with your template guide to give you a bigger border. And then all you've got to do is flip over the templates that you've got and cut the colored card bases and things that you need from those templates. So it is really, really, it is taking all the guesswork out of your paper crafting. Now, the next thing I wanted to say is the big announcement is we are going to be doing basic fun folds for the month of December for our Basic Foundations of Card Making members. Now, every month, for me here in Australia, it costs you $50. You get a kit that gets sent out to you, and we send that out around the middle of the month because we have to order the products, because the payment, when the payments all come in at the end of the month, then we have to order the products to be able to send out to you. So most of the time your kits will get sent out probably around the middle of the month. At that stage, you will have already had probably my first video and Rose's first video. So then when you actually get your product bundle in the post, you can then go ahead and make your first card. So you get 6 cards altogether every month. You actually get 6 designs that we do every month for that $50. So it's $50 for me here in Australia, and it's I think it's 35, I think, for Rose over in the US. Now we do also have an international just the content only that you get no product, and that means if you don't live in the US or you don't live in Australia, you can actually purchase the online content only. If you live in the US or you live in Australia, you do actually have to purchase the membership because that's what we're here for. That option is there. On YouTube, if you look in the show more box down below, you should be able to see it in our description. You'll see the link to actually join mine. You'll also see the link if you want to join Rose's as well. So anyone for the international content, you choose whoever you want to choose for that one. All right. So if you live anywhere outside of the US and outside of Australia, you can do the online content only. Linda's saying that she loves the templates, that it's very helpful. You forgot to post your first card. That's all right. Hey, Kathy, lovely to see you. So we've got Maureen has jumped on as well. Matthew's jumped on. So good morning, everyone. All right, let's get into this crafting because that's what we're here for. So let's pop the camera down onto my desk. Now I've gone ahead and I've done a few things beforehand. So I've cut my card base at our template size. I've cut my designer series paper at the size of our black contrast layer. So for any of the members, you will know what that means, the black contrast layer. I've also die cut some pieces here out of the Traditions of Christmas designer series paper. I've done a little, you'll see what I'm going to do with this bit later on. So I've cut a little bit that's off the side of the designer series paper. I've also cut one of the images out of the designer series paper. I've also cut a leaf out of the designer series paper. I've cut a layer here that's going to, a label here that's going to be our sentiment label. And of course, we've got our piece of designer series paper here. Now, I am using the Christmas greenery and the traditional labels for the cards this month, but you can substitute anything out of your craft stash that would be similar. You can easily substitute. It's the fact of doing the techniques is what we want you to do. Now, I'm bringing in a scrap piece of paper here because this technique, I'm telling you, you are absolutely going to love this technique. Well, I think you are anyway. You'll be amazed. I mean, it's a technique that I did a long time ago, and I thought to myself when we were doing the embossing techniques, I'm going to do this one for the members as well. Now, I'm physically not going to do the embossing buddy on here. And the reason is I'm going to emboss this whole entire layer with clear embossing. All right. So I'm taking my Versamark. So of course, with embossing, you need the Versamark, which is like a clear sticky ink, and you also need your embossing powder. So today I'm using the Versamark and I'm using clear embossing powder. Okay. So I'm actually going to ink up over this entire layer. So you do need a scrap piece of paper underneath you to be able to, so you don't get Versamark everywhere, but I want to make sure that I've got that whole entire layer covered. Now, don't panic about getting your hands in this because if you get a finger mark on this layer, we're going to do several layers, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so one of the things, I've got my clear embossing powder in here. Oops, and I just spilled some on there, but that's okay. I've got it here in my embossing buddy, in my additions toolkit straight away. And I'm just going to grab that embossing powder and I want to tilt it. So it's all just going to go down that layer. And I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to scoop it up again because we want to get embossing powder on this whole entire layer. Now, as I said, don't panic if you've got little bits that you've missed on one because it's not going to make any difference because you're going to end up having these covered because of the amount of times that we do it. So each time hold it in a different place. All right. So I've got my clear embossing on there. I'm not going to use the tweezers. I'm actually just going to heat that straight down on my desk. Now make sure if you're going to do this that you have a desk that can cope with the heat. So if you've got a plastic desk, I wouldn't advise to do this. I would advise to probably hold it in your hand. So all I'm doing now is actually heating that embossing to turn that clear embossing powder into a nice, shiny, clear look. Okay. So, and you know me, I typically heat from underneath, but to do this technique, it is just easier to do it from the top. And the reason that I heat from underneath is because when you add heat to your cardstock, it curls up. And I like it to curl down and under to put on my layer, but we are going to do this several times. Now, the key here is to make sure that that cools. do not go over it with your Versamark while it's still hot. Okay, so this is where I heated first. So I do the finger test. I'm like, is it sticky? No, it's not sticky, and it's not sticky down here. I'm ready to go again. So I'm going to go again. Now, I'm going to show you this process a couple of times. I'm going to show you something else that I did in the middle of this process, which I chose halfway through prepping my piece that I was going to add another step. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that as well. So we're going to get back in here with our clear. I'm going to add some more in there. It takes a lot of embossing powder, this. So beware if you're going to, I put it this way, I wouldn't do these as multiple cards because it uses a lot of embossing powder. Okay. Because I'm typically going to do this. And as I said, the reason why I'm not going to do it on video here, I did this about 10 times on my piece of designer series paper. So the piece that I've already prepped and ready to go, I've done it about 10 times, but I'm going to show you a couple of times how to do this and how it doesn't matter if we've got a finger mark, because as soon as we hit that with heat again, it's going to go clear and the bottom part's going to be embossed under it anyway. So what you need to do is just keep changing around where you hold on to it. Okay. All right. Now, let's just imagine that I've done this probably about four or five times. So I've put Versamark over the whole lot. I've heat embossed it to make it go nice and clear. And let's just say we've done that about 4 or 5 times. So what we're actually trying to do is we're trying to layer up and layer up and layer up clear levels of embossing. Okay. So, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that happened with me when I was doing my layer, that it's okay if it happens. Okay. One of them was I touched it before it cooled down. So of course, when I put my finger in it, it put a finger mark in the clear embossing and you could see it. And I was like, oh, and then also too, one of them, I actually like touched it and it pulled up a whole part of layer of that clear embossing that I'd already done. And I'd done probably about 3 or 4 layers when I did this. But when I put the Versamark on, put the clear on, and then heated it again, the bit that was chunky and had pulled up actually melted and went back into it again. So if you find that you have things like that happen, don't panic. You actually can fix it. Now, halfway along, I thought to myself, this is really nice that I've got this designer series paper and I've got the clear happening. But I thought, when I go to put it on my card, it's just going to be like this clear layer. Maybe I want some gold around the edges. And for any of you that know from the basic foundations of card making, I did a lot of things with gold around edges and things like that, just to really jazz up the layer that you're doing. So I'm actually going to pretend that I've done about 4 or 5 layers of this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad and I'm just going to go along the edges like I'm going to sponge the edges, like you would normally sponge the edges if you were going to do, you know how you do a layer and you're going to sponge the edges with your ink. Then I'm going to bring in this scrap to go under me so that I don't get it on there. I'm then going to grab my, where did I put my gold after all that? Oh, hang on. I moved a few things and now I'm like, oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So I've done around this edge, and this edge. So I'm just going to shake a little bit of gold around these edges. Okay. A little bit here. And it doesn't matter how rough you are at doing this. The whole idea is getting that rustic sort of look by doing this. Okay. So I've done all 3 edges. Tap it off. And now I'm going to heat that. I'm going to pull that aside because I'm still going to need that. I'm then going to, let me just sit that there. I'm then going to heat that. And we're going to get that gold wow factor. Okay. Now it's really important that you do this step in the middle of everything, because I'm pretending that I've done like 5 layers or so. I'm going to do another 5 layers of the clear over the top. Okay. So we've got that. Now I need to do my last edge. So I'm just going to wait for that to cool. Make sure I don't get my hands in it while it's still warm, because when it's still warm, it will physically be sticky, and you will actually, yeah, you'll actually move it. All right, so it's cooled off. I'm now going to go around this edge. Okay. Bring my gold back in that I was sprinkling on. Sprinkle a little bit of gold back on this edge. Tap it off. Now I'm going to put that gold back in and get that out of the way so I can clean that up. So I've still got, and all this is a backing sheet off one of the designer series paper. It was really good for doing this because I had the thickness of the cardboard underneath me, which was really good. So it sort of protected my desk a little bit. Okay. So there we have, imagine a gorgeous layer like this on the front of your card. So we've got a shiny layer, we've got the gorgeous gold around the outside, but imagine just having that. That is something. I remember a lady asking me that oh, no worries. Rose is here. She's watching us from the nursing home. So I had a lady that wanted to have the whole front of the card look shiny. And she said, how can I do that? And I said, oh, that's easy. You can just do Versamark over the whole top and then just put clear over it, and you get that gorgeous shiny look. Okay. Right. So we're going to keep going. So imagine we've done 5 layers of the clear underneath. We've done the edging around with the gold. And now we're going to go again, and we're going to do another 5 layers. I'm not going to do another 5 layers on this video because I have prepared one before. So we're just going to ink up again. Now, one thing that I did notice when I did the gold in between, that sometimes if you held the heat too long where the gold started to run. So there could be another technique that we could possibly do as well. I thought about that and I was like, oh, that would be quite interesting if we did it on purpose and made it run. But anyway, it was something that I just discovered when I was doing it. So I typically just want to get another layer over there, kind of grab it that way. The hard part is when it curls up, but okay. So we've got clear all over that again. I'm going to go again. So when you're doing this first layer over the top of the gold, just be careful how long you hold that heat there, because it seems to make the whole lot of the embossing, the clear that you've done, it seems to just turn it into a liquid every time you do it. So just be really, really careful that you don't hold the heat too long in an area. But I would love to get and have a little bit of a play and see if we could put a fair bit of gold up in the top section and then do it on purpose and get it to run. I think that could be another technique. I think I could have just discovered a brand new technique that I don't think I've seen anyone do. All right. Okay. So imagine we are going to do that another 5 times, because the whole idea is we are trying to get a really thick layer of clear over the top of our layer. Okay, so as I said, that could be a gorgeous layer straight away on the front of our card if we physically put our embellishments on here, there, did a bit of stamped our sentiment. There you go. You've got a gorgeous card with that beautiful shiny look behind. Okay, so that is one thing that you could do. You could totally stop here and just go there. But I've done one step further. So just I just have to go After I did all my 10 layers, like I did, I then put it in the freezer. And you're going to go, why did you put it in the freezer? I'm going to go and get mine now out of the freezer. So bear with me while I go and grab it out of the freezer, and then I'll show you why. Okay. So this is the one that I prepared earlier, and it's been in the freezer for probably just on an hour. Okay, so just on an hour. I'm going to get rid of all that Versamark at the moment because I don't need it. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to crack it. So I'm going to go like that, like that, like that. Can you see the cracks appearing in it? This is called the cracked glass technique. And I remember doing this a few years back, and it gives the effect that it's like shattered glass that you have stuck together. Okay? So it's creating a little bit of texture in your background, and you can see you just bend it with your fingers and it cracks. Now, being in the freezer is the important part, is making sure that you put it in the freezer, because we've got to get it really cold and really crisp for it to actually do that. Okay, so there we have a gorgeous cracked glass technique. Now you could do patterned paper under here and have that cracked glass look over the top. I chose to do a more plain pattern so you could actually see the definite cracks. So on a patterned piece of paper, you'll find, like on a floral piece of paper, you won't see those cracks. You've never seen it before, Linda? I am so glad. Type it in the comments. Let me know. Who has seen this cracked glass technique before? I am talking about, I'm going back to, I think, my first year as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I actually learned this technique. So I think I'm going back nearly 10 years ago. I learned this technique. Type it in the comments and let me know. Have you tried the cracked glass technique? Do you know about the cracked glass technique? All right. Now, the next thing what I want to do is I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to pop that all aside. You've never seen it before either. I am so glad that there's people that haven't seen it, because this is the thing with techniques. They come around again. And you know what? Just because, and Nancy hasn't seen it either. Patricia, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I've showed you something that you've never seen before. So anyway, now what we're going to do, we're going to stamp our sentiment on this. We're going to use our stamps, and I had them lined up, but now they've come off. I'm going to use my embossing buddy because I definitely don't want any embossing powder to stick to anywhere that I don't want it to stick to. Now I'm going to line my stamps up. I've got this Merry Christmas here. And what I did was I typically lined it up on my bench how I want the Merry Christmas to sit. So the Merry's got like an arch, and the Christmas is sort of straight. So I thought the Merry could really like easily arch over the top. And this is out of the traditional labels bundle. And I'm just going to pick them up together. So I've picked them up on the block together. And now I'm going to ink those up with Versamark. And I'm going to stamp my Merry Christmas onto my designer series paper. Don't be scared to use your designer series paper with heat embossing, because it will show up beautifully on your designer series paper, because a heat embossing is beautiful in gold. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up. I'm then going to grab my gold again, and now I put that aside. Oh, there it is. I was going to say I put that aside again. Where did I put that? All right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab that piece that I had underneath my gold before, sprinkle some gold on. Okay, now, really important that when you look at that you make sure you don't have anything where it shouldn't be. So you've got your powder exactly where you want it to be. I'm going to tip that back in there. Okay. Okay, now we are going to heat emboss that. Now, you all know me. I'm going to clean my tweezers off, so I've been in that many times. Okay, Now, you all know me. I like to heat from underneath because I like my layers to curl down and under if that's what I'm going to do. You haven't seen it either, Julie? Okay. Well, I'm so glad I've taught you something. Now, with heat embossing, you watch it change color and keep moving. Don't keep heating, because if you keep heating, your heat emboss will go back dull again. You will burn your embossing powder. So you don't want to overheat when it comes to heat embossing, okay? As soon as it changes color, move on. That's exactly what you got to do. Just move on. All right. Now let's fold this card base in half. I've got so much embossing powder. You think you're doing really, really well by keeping the embossing powder in the tray, but you end up with that gritty, dusty feel no matter what. You think you do all right, but anyway. All right, so I'm going to do that. Now on the inside of my card, I'm actually going to just take some oh, I've got cherry cobbler. I'm going to take cherry cobbler. Out of the reds, I mean, I could do real red, but I want to do cherry cobbler because I actually like the depth of cherry cobbler. So I'm going to, on the inside, I'm going to use "'Tis the Season," like that. Okay. Now this little piece that I cut, so I cut the flower out of the designer series paper, but this little piece was on the edge. So where I cut the flower out, this was like beside it, okay? So what I did was I sat the die around it and I cut it because I want that to sit down in the corner of my card like that. And it's going to decorate the inside of this card. Typically you could have one for this side. It probably would have worked better this side, but I cut the flower out of the left side of the paper. So I had to have the left side flower, but so don't waste it. So just because you are cutting the flowers out of the designer series paper doesn't mean that these little half ones you can't use, because they're fantastic for using down that center fold or over this side or up the top. We've got a straight edge on the bottom. Oops. Got a straight edge on the bottom and a straight edge up the side. So we've got that to go on the inside of our card. All right. Put that away. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to burnish my card once again. Make sure it's sitting nice. Now let's decorate this front panel. So, I mean, how awesome is that? I'll bring it up again so you can see. Look at how that looks. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Now I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the back of my leaf. So the leaf has been cut out of the designer series paper, and I often, when I turn over these gold accented papers, when I'm using the reverse side, I often think it's such a shame to put that gorgeous gold accented side down, but I wanted the green. I wanted to use the designer series paper that we had there and use the green. So I'm just going to hold that down. Now, because we're gluing onto embossing, it's going to be slippery. Okay, so make sure you hold it down and let it take hold onto that clear embossing. All right. Now, I just want to do a little bit of a rough guide here of where my flower is going to sit. So I want the flower to sit just on the edge, and it's okay if it's going to overlap a little bit. So I am able to pop that on with dimensionals. You haven't seen it either, Christine. I'm amazed at how many people haven't seen it. But you know, I thought to myself, if I go back to a really old technique that I've done, maybe there's people that haven't seen it. And the reason why I think that happens is you may not have been crafting 10 years ago. You may not have been a card maker 10 years ago. So I actually think it's really fantastic that yeah, quite a few of you haven't seen it. So all right, Rose's trick with the take your pick tool, we're going to get rid of those backings off our dimensionals. Now, I'm going to let this one overlap over here a little bit, but it's still going to stay in the confines of my card. But I'm going to overlap it a little bit over that edge because we need a little bit of extra room to pop our flower on, and it's going to overlap this side a little bit, but we do have a border around our white card, and it's totally okay for us to go off the edge as long as we stay within the confines of the card, okay? All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dimensional there directly down onto my card there. I think it was there. Let me see. That's where that's going to sit. Yes. Okay, we can do that. All right, so I'm going to do that. Now, I've stuck it down into that dimensional, but now I'm just going to pop a couple of dimensionals underneath to pop that flower up. So I'm going to pop one up there and one up there. So the reason why I did that was because I've already got this layer popped up. It's very hard to work out where you're going to put your dimensionals on behind your flower there if you've already got one layer popped up. So I like to be able to, if I'm going to overlap things, I like to be able to do that, put them directly down on there. Okay, so we've got that and we've got that popped up like that. Okay, so now we are going to add some liquid glue. I'm not going to pop this layer up because I've already got the flowers and the sentiment popped up. So we're going to do that. Okay. Now I'm going to add a heavy block on top of that. Oh, do I have one of my heavy blocks? This one might do it. I'm just going to add a block on there because I'm going to do that and I'm going to pop it aside. Now I'm going to tie my ribbon. So all of my members got all of my members got some red ribbon and they also got some of these gorgeous gold gems. So we're going to finish it off with a bow because you all know I'm the bow lady from Bow Desert. So it has to have a bow on it. Okay. Like so. And then I'm going to trim it. And I know the flowers have a bow on there, but I have to have a ribbon bow on my card. I can't not have a ribbon bow. I could possibly put it, oh, I could. I'm going to put it there where that bow is. Okay, so it will look okay. Now, I don't have any glue dots in here, so I'm going to use my Seal Plus to put my ribbon on. So I'm going to add a little bit of Seal Plus there, pop my ribbon into that. And then, of course, I'm going to take these gorgeous gems and I'm going to add a couple down here. Whoops. And it's not going to be my friend. Oh, it wants to go the other way. Now it wants to stick onto my bench. There we go. That. And I typically, with my embellishments, only do 3. But I do like to put one when I can get it. Oh, wow, my eyesight's so bad. On my sentiment layer. Okay. And then, of course, then to finish it off, I'm just going to add a spritzing of our Wink of Stella. Even though we've got that shiny look, it's really pretty once we've got the glitter look over the top of that shiny look as well. Okay, so we have some gorgeous glitter and we've got some shimmer on the front there too. So there you go. But it's just a different technique to give you a little bit of texture in the background. Okay, so I'm super excited that was a technique that a lot of you have never seen before. So that really makes me excited that I bought something different to you this month. So so hopefully you enjoyed that. I'll go back to here. So thank you everyone for being so understanding that Rose couldn't make it. But we go live here once a month. It's normally the last Friday of the month here in Australia, and it's normally the last Thursday of the month for everyone in the US. And of course, it's Thanksgiving over in the US. So of course, we couldn't go live on Thanksgiving because everyone's having Thanksgiving. So we decided to pop it a day earlier. So that's why we're actually on today instead of Friday like we normally are, or Thursday night for the US people. So if you want to get in on those, we're starting off with basic fun folds. Now, if you've ever been scared of fun folds, oh my Lord, you really need to join our basic foundations of card making for next month, because we are going to do some simple, easy fun fold cards that you will be able to make time and time again, and they are not complicated. I think the reason why a lot of people stay away from fun folds is because they are so complicated, and we are going to simplify it, and that's what the basic foundations of card making is all about. So the links are down in the description down below. If you want to join me, if you live in Australia, you want to join me, look at the show more box down below on YouTube and you will find the description. If you're watching over on Facebook, you can see the description of the video. It will have it there. Please don't hesitate to join. You need to be joined by the end of this month. So we've only got a few more days. So you need to be joined by the end of this month. You all know too, we've got a Black Friday sale with Stampin' Up. So if you're interested, we've got heaps of blends and things still over there that are available. A lot of things have sold out because it was a really awesome sale, but there's still many lots of blends. So if you want to top up your blends collection, definitely now is the time to do it. So head on over to our Black Friday sales, to our online stores for Rose in the US, or for me here in Australia. So thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. And I will see you all again next month when we do our December one. It will be earlier because, and it will be, yeah, it will be earlier because it will be before Christmas. So so we will be getting on probably around, I can't do the 19th, so it might actually have to be the 18th because I've got an appointment on the morning of the 19th. So thanks everyone for hanging out with us, and I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.